Now, today, the state withdrawing fraud and corruption charges against the former acting police commissioner, Khomotso Phahlane. You'll remember that he was facing fraud and corruption charges. Essentially, his wife, as well as a businessman named as a Durand Snyman, accused of accepting kickbacks in return for favours. IPID, the IPID, the police watchdog, saying that Snyman gave the Phahlanes cars which were paid for by a police contractor. eNCA's Michael Appel has been on that story for us today, back in our Hyde Park studio. Just remind me very quickly, Michael, before we get to what happened to the NPA in this particular respect, what exact charges was he facing?
So it's the three of them are facing 6 charges. It's fraud, corruption. It's essentially benefiting, receiving gratuities for being the head of the forensics section of the police at the time. And there is another accused, which, well, not yet an accused, but another person which is of interest to the police and the National Prosecuting Authority, let me put it that way, Keith Keating, and he received forensic contracts with the SAPS, multi-billion rand contracts. And then Durand Snyman is the man that was believed and has been accused of facilitating the car deals that the former police commissioner and his wife enjoy. So several cars, several properties. This is all under the watchful eye of IPID. And, well, they've said they've had a watertight case for a while, but today they arrived wanting 3 more months to investigate.
And at that point, Michael Appel, the court really putting the boot into the NPA.
Yeah, that's right. Justice delayed is justice denied, the old adage. And essentially, after IPID has formulated its case, it goes to the National Prosecuting Authority and says, we're ready to effect this. Okay, what do you think? It's a good enough case. Let's effect an arrest. They go ahead, they arrest him on the 7th of February, and he appears in court on the 8th. And then all of a sudden, it's in March again, the 12th of March. They say, all right, the next time we see each other, which will be today, we're going to announce a trial date, and we're going to be able to disclose all our information as the state. It's called disclosure. We're going to disclose everything to the defense to allow them to start building their case, to answer to what the state's allegations are against their clients. And then they say it's natural that the more we investigate, the broader our scope has gotten. So they've asked for another 3 months, and the defense saying, no, we are going to oppose this and ask that it be struck off the roll. Essentially, the magistrate siding with the defense, saying no. The amount of prejudice being suffered by the Phahlanes and Mr. Durand Snyman, it's not in the interest of justice. The state can go back to the drawing board in some sense, do their investigations. There's 3 outstanding forensic reports the state is waiting for. Wait to get all of that, then come back to us.
It's interesting because it's either the argument about the scope widening, which the NPA is putting forward. I mean, there are 2 other considerations here, Michael. One is that they're simply poorly prepared, or simply they are being forced to act. There is so much pressure on the NPA to act that they are dropping the ball on the most basic of disciplines.
Yeah, that's right, Jeremy. The National Prosecuting Authority and the National Director of Public Prosecution, Sean Abrahams, I think under a lot of pressure here in light of some victories that have been scored against the National Prosecuting Authority by none other than the Guptas recently. So the NPA under the spotlight here to make sure they don't put a foot wrong, and kind of being forced to withdraw a case because you're not actually ready to go to trial is an embarrassment and an indictment on the state of their case. And it's interesting that the defense of saying that the underhanded manner in which the state has conducted itself, it's absolutely shocking. This is what the defense attorney representing the Phahlanes is saying, that you've tarnished this man's reputation. He's effectively suffering massive financial prejudice, reputational prejudice, and now you're saying you're not actually ready to proceed with this trial. Either let him go or let's get to it, and he says on the face of it there's nothing for them to answer to.
All right, two quick ones, Michael, before I let you go. One is, I'm assuming, possibly not, that there hasn't been any reaction yet from Khomotso Phahlane. And secondly, where does this leave him professionally as far as the SAPS is concerned?
I asked the former National Commissioner if he had anything to say on his walk out of the Commercial Crimes Court. He gave me a pretty blank stare and said absolutely nothing. I think his attorney had said everything on his behalf, but I tried my luck in any case. I did ask about the suspension of the general and where this leaves him. It says, well, the defense attorney, Piet du Plessis, saying, well, we've defeated this, we've had the charges withdrawn, now we'll deal with the suspension of General Phahlane, and they're going to get to that. He is on suspension at the moment, so that is still an internal disciplinary action within the police that is ongoing.